A man can be completely attracted to you. He can enjoy your company, love spending time with you, and even see potential for something real. But before he fully commits, he will test you, whether consciously or subconsciously. And no, I'm not talking about some game-playing, manipulative test to see how much you'll tolerate. This is something deeper, more instinctual. Something that determines whether he sees you as someone to take seriously or just another passing connection. Most women don't even realize it's happening, and because of that, most women fail. They respond in ways that kill attraction, lower their value, and push him away without even meaning to. Today, I'm breaking down the exact way men test women and why they do it. The most common mistakes that make women fail. How to pass every time without playing games or losing your self-respect. If you've ever had a man pull away for no clear reason, this might be the answer you've been missing. Let's get into it. Why do men test women? Men test women because deep down, they want to know if they can fully trust you with their emotions, their effort, and their investment. This doesn't mean they're sitting around plotting, thinking, let me see how much she'll put up with. No, it's much more subtle. Attraction alone is not enough for a man to fully commit. He needs to feel like the woman he's choosing is someone who aligns with his values, respects herself, and won't crumble under pressure. So, consciously or unconsciously, men look for signals. Small moments in interactions that reveal, do you truly respect yourself, or will you compromise for his attention? Do you bring value to his life, or do you only take? Do you operate from confidence, or do you seek validation? These are not things he can ask directly. They are things he observes over time. And here's where most women go wrong. They mistake these tests for rejection. When a man becomes inconsistent, acts distant, or even creates small challenges in the relationship, many women assume he's not interested anymore. He wants me to prove myself to him. I need to do more to make him stay. And that's where they fail. Because the women who pass a man's test, they don't react. They don't chase. They don't seek validation. They hold their ground, set their standards, and let the man decide for himself whether he's going to rise to meet them. The most common tests men use and how women fail them. Now that you know why men test women, let's talk about how they do it and the mistakes that make women fail. 1. The pullback test. This is one of the most frustrating experiences for women. Everything seems great. He's consistent, affectionate, making plans, and then, suddenly, he pulls back. He texts less. He seems distant. He doesn't initiate plans like before. Many women panic in this moment. They start chasing, over-texting, asking what's wrong, trying to fix whatever they think they did. But in reality, this is often just a test. Men do this, consciously or unconsciously, to see how you'll respond to uncertainty. Do you trust in the connection and let him come back on his own? Or do you chase, doubt yourself, and let anxiety take over? The women who pass this test, they don't react emotionally. They keep living their life, maintaining their confidence, and let the man decide if he's going to step up again. And guess what? If he's truly interested, he always comes back. If he doesn't, you just saved yourself from wasting time on a man who is never serious in the first place. This is only the first test. But the one that truly separates high-value women from the ones men lose interest in is the boundaries test. In the next section, we'll cover the one moment in every relationship that reveals if a man truly respects you, how most women accidentally fail this test without realizing it, the exact response that makes a man see you as irreplaceable. Because once you pass this test, everything changes. Let's keep going. 2. The boundaries test, and why it's the most important one. Every man, whether intentionally or not, will test a woman's boundaries, and how you respond in that moment determines everything. This test isn't about control, it's about respect. Men want to know, do you respect yourself enough to say no when something doesn't feel right? Will you bend your standards just to keep him interested? Can he trust you to hold your ground, even when emotions are involved? Because here's the truth. A man cannot respect a woman who does not respect herself. How this test happens, and why most women fail. Most women don't even realize they're being tested in these moments. It happens when he casually mentions other women to see if you'll compete for his attention. He pushes small physical or emotional boundaries just to see what he can get away with. He starts being inconsistent to see if you'll tolerate it. When this happens, a lot of women make excuses for the man's behavior. They assume, maybe I'm overreacting. If I speak up, he'll think I'm too demanding. If I let this slide, he'll like me more. And that's the mistake. Because the second a woman lets things slide that she's uncomfortable with, the man's entire perception of her shifts. He may still like her, he may still be attracted to her, but he won't see her the same way. Because deep down, he now knows she will compromise her standards for his attention. The response that passes this test every time. The women who pass this test don't need to argue, prove themselves, or get emotional. They simply respond with calm, clear confidence. If he starts mentioning other women, she doesn't compete for his attention. She pulls back because she knows her worth. If he disrespects a boundary, she calls it out once. And if it happens again, she walks away. If he becomes inconsistent, she doesn't chase, she matches his energy. A high-value woman never tries to convince a man to respect her. She expects it, and if he doesn't give it, she removes herself. And that's what makes a man step up or step out. Now let's talk about another test that most women fail without realizing it. This one is tricky because it's not about what you say, but how you make a man feel. Men instinctively avoid relationships that feel like pressure instead of freedom. That's why some women can be amazing, beautiful, kind, and intelligent, but men still lose interest. It's because something about the energy of the relationship starts feeling like an obligation instead of a choice. This doesn't mean you shouldn't expect effort, commitment, and consistency, but how you approach it makes all the difference. In the next section, we'll break down the numbered way women unknowingly create pressure that pushes men away, why men commit when they feel freedom, not obligation, how to create deep emotional security without chasing, proving, or over-explaining. Because once you understand this, men stop pulling away and start stepping up. Let's keep going. 3. The pressure test and why men instinctively avoid women who fail it. Attraction and commitment are two different things for men. A man can be incredibly drawn to you, physically, emotionally, and intellectually, but still hesitate to commit. Why? Because the moment a relationship starts feeling like an obligation rather than a choice, his instincts tell him to pull away. This is not about avoiding commitment. In fact, the right man wants to commit when he feels safe and deeply connected. But when a woman unknowingly applies the wrong kind of pressure, it creates the opposite effect. How women fail this test without realizing it. The pressure test usually happens when a woman over-explains her worth. I'm such a good woman, why can't he see it? Tries to convince him to commit. Where is this going? Too early. Seeks reassurance too often. Do you still like me? Gives more than she's receiving in hopes of earning his love. Gets emotionally reactive when she feels uncertainty. None of these actions come from a bad place. They usually happen when a woman starts feeling a shift, like he's not as engaged, not texting as much, or not initiating as often. She leans in because she wants to fix the imbalance. But what she doesn't realize is that men don't respond to words, they respond to energy. If a man starts feeling that his attention is being monitored, expected, or required, it stops being freely given. And when he feels less freedom, he gives less effort. The secret to passing this test: create emotional safety, not pressure. So how do you pass this test and keep a man deeply engaged without making him feel trapped? 1. Mirror his energy instead of forcing it. If he texts less instead of panicking and texting more, match his effort. Give him space to feel your absence. If he values you, he will notice and step up. 2. Focus on being an experience, not a job. The most attractive energy is when a man associates you with joy, ease, and excitement, not emotional pressure. That doesn't mean you never express your feelings. It means you keep the relationship light, fun, and natural, instead of treating it like a constant evaluation. 3. Let him decide, without ultimatums. If he's inconsistent, instead of confronting him aggressively, simply observe. Then, decide if his actions align with what you want. If they don't, you adjust your level of investment accordingly, not as punishment, but because you respect yourself. This is powerful because it shifts the dynamic. Instead of feeling like you're waiting for his decision, he starts realizing that he's the one who could lose you. And that's the moment a man starts showing real commitment. Because he wants to, not because he has to. Why these tests matter. Every man will test a woman in some way, not to play games, but because he wants to know if she's truly someone he can respect, desire, and commit to. The key to passing these tests isn't playing games back. It's understanding. Men commit when they feel emotionally safe, not pressured. A woman's self-respect is her strongest asset. The right man will always step up for the right woman, without needing to be chased, convinced, or reminded of her value. By recognizing these tests and responding with confidence instead of fear, you naturally attract the kind of man who values you, and filter out the ones who don't. So the next time you sense a shift, instead of overthinking, chasing, or proving your worth, hold your ground and let him show you who he really is. Because the right man, he won't need you to pass his tests. He'll already know your worth. If you've made it this far, you already have something most people don't. Awareness. And awareness is power. Because now, you'll never second-guess yourself when a man tests you, pulls back, or challenges your boundaries. You won't chase. You won't prove your worth. You won't waste your energy on men who don't deserve it. Instead, you'll let them reveal who they really are. And that alone puts you in control. Now, here's what I want you to do. If this video gave you clarity, hit that like button. It helps this message reach more women who need it. And if you're ready to start showing up as the high-value woman you are, subscribe now, because what's coming next will change the way you date forever. I appreciate you being here. Now go out there and own your worth. See you in the next one.